I sent a message to my crush and missed it. I want to take a nap, as I want to sleep with you. Lionel. 2 minutes later. Today? Can you wait for me for an hour? I'll be back after the competition. 2 hours later. I was blocked by Lionel downstairs in my dormitory. Looking at my messy clothes and the suspicious marks on my neck. He said with red eyes and grievance, "Did you find someone else behind my back? I have a competition later. I probably won't be able to reply to messages for an hour. It's definitely not that I intentionally didn't reply to you. Good luck in the competition. Senior. When I go back later. Is there anything you want?" As I was staying up all night doing experiments. My eyes were blurry at this moment. I didn't even look at the message clearly. I managed to reply with the last sentence. "I want to take a nap." I didn't notice at all that I had sent, "I want to sleep with you," instead of, "I want to take a nap." After sending the message, my upper and lower eyelids couldn't hold on anymore. I fell asleep immediately and didn't hear the beeping message notifications on my phone at all. At this time, Lionel in the examination room blushed so much that he could bleed. First, he carefully sent messages to test. "What? Did you send it wrong?" Seeing that there was no reply. He was afraid that the other party would change their mind. So he sent several more messages in succession. "Today? Where? Can you wait for me for an hour? I'll be back after the competition." At the last moment before entering the examination room, he still stared at his phone tightly, afraid of missing a single message. "I'm about to enter the examination room now. You must wait for me. Dahlia. Wake up." Sella shouted loudly and woke me up. I hummed and picked up the phone next to me with my eyes closed. The senior sent me a message. Not in a hurry to read the content. First reply, "Senior. I woke up. Dahlia. Hurry up. For the first 50 people at the beef noodle soup in the cafeteria. Buy one get one free." What? I was instantly awake and scrambled out of bed. The beef noodle soup in the cafeteria is famous for being delicious. The soup is rich and flavorful. And the taste is extremely delicious. The only drawback is that it's too expensive. How could I miss such a rare opportunity of buy one get one free? I simply washed my face with clean water. When I picked up my phone, I found it was turned off. I threw the phone aside and pulled Sella to run downstairs. Hey. Are you sure you don't change your clothes? There are several red marks on your neck. Those who don't know might think you did something bad. I scratched my neck. It's okay. After eating, I'll go buy mosquito repellent. I was only focused on running and didn't look at the road. My body directly bumped into an embrace. The familiar smell filled my nose. I was stunned and looked up. "Are you okay?" the man asked gently. "It's Lionel. Senior. What a coincidence." His gaze swept over my face and fell on the marks on my neck. His pupils constricted. "Did you sleep with someone?" I gave him a smile. I slept very well." Lionel was first incredulous. And then gradually became aggrieved. "Dahlia. Did you find someone else behind my back?" "Oh no. I seemed to have forgotten that I had made an appointment with the senior for a meal. Now going to eat with Sella is indeed considered." That. Sorry. Senior. I'm in a hurry." I was at a loss. I secretly glanced at the senior with my peripheral vision. He seemed very angry. Lionel's eyes were red at the corners. And there was a bitter smile on the corner of his mouth. "Dahlia. How urgent are you? You can't even wait for an hour." I lowered my head even more. Sella reached out and tugged at my sleeve. I secretly glanced at her. I saw beef noodle soup in her eyes. She seemed to be saying, "Hurry up. If it's late, there won't be buy one get one free." I gave her a look that you can rest assured and nodded firmly. "Senior. It really won't work this time. It's an emergency. Next time I will definitely let you have priority." "So I am plan B?" In Lionel's incredulous and her ties. I pulled Sella and rushed towards the cafeteria. Beef noodle soup. Here I come. Dahlia. You gave up your male god for just a bite to eat? Sella stared at me with helplessness. As I slurped the noodle soup, I replied, didn't you urge me to leave quickly? If it's late, there will be no noodle soup. Sella almost couldn't catch her breath. I wanted you to let go of me. You chat with the male god. I'll go grab the noodle soup. Then what should we do? Eat quickly. After eating, go back and apologize to your male god. You actually left him alone for a bowl of noodle soup. I stuck out my tongue in embarrassment, thinking of the first time I met Lionel. It was a sunny afternoon. The club organized us to go on a team-building trip in the countryside. That day, Lionel stood in front of a large pot. In the smoke, he was tall and straight. His facial features were delicate and three-dimensional. A gust of wind blew. The aroma of braised big geese in an iron pot filled the air and quietly slipped into my heart. I stood in the distance looking at him. My heart suddenly missed a beat. The world seemed to be quiet. Such a Lionel made me fall in love. I swallowed saliva and couldn't help but fall in love with him. Listening to my words, Sella's mouth twitched slightly. You don't know. That day, the senior actually gave me one of the only two goose legs. He is so considerate. After that day, I added the senior's WeChat. Every day, I found various excuses to chat with him. Sent him good morning and good night. And also hinted that he should take me with him for any activities in the future. Sella couldn't help but knock on my head with chopsticks. Dahlia, do you like big geese or the senior? I lowered my head and smiled embarrassed lie. I like big geese and I also like the senior. Sella looked at the beef noodle soup in front of her and shook her head. I don't think so. After eating and drinking enough, I happily walked back to the dormitory with Sella on my arm. I turned on my phone again. The message notifications on my phone kept ringing. I opened it and looked. They were all WeChat messages from the senior. Dahlia, I finished the competition. I'll go find you soon. Dahlia, have you thought it through? Dahlia, I'm back at school. Dahlia, where are you? Dahlia, I'm downstairs in your dormitory. This. I looked through the senior's messages one by one and was at a loss. Does the senior like me? Then should I still tell him that I sent it wrong? I scratched my head. Typed and then deleted. After hesitating for a long time, I finally sent a message. Senior. What do you mean? Lionel's chat page kept showing typing. Until 10 minutes later, the other party sent a message that surprised me. Sorry. It's not me. The original owner sold the account to me. The senior's account was stolen? Damn it. I was cheated out of 200 yuan. My roommate's voice startled me. What's wrong? She had an expression as if she wanted to kill someone. My boyfriend's account was stolen and cheated me out of 200 yuan. Right. I heard that many accounts have been stolen recently. I pondered for a moment, and sent the last message to the senior. In that case, let's delete each other. Considering the precious chat records between me and the senior, I exited without deleting and reluctantly blacklisted him. This account thief is quite nice. He stole the senior's account and still told me. At this time, Lionel, looking at the red exclamation mark on the screen, wished he could slap himself twice. Why did he say his account was stolen? Now it's all ruined. It's over. At night, I tossed and turned and couldn't sleep. The senior's account was stolen. Then how can I apologize to him? Maybe I was making too much noise and disturbed Sella next door. She knocked on my bed. I opened my phone. Why aren't you sleeping at night and tossing and turning? Are you thinking about the senior? There was also a hehe emoji at the bottom. I couldn't help blushing and spat at her. The senior's account was stolen. I haven't apologized to him yet. So coincidental? How do you know? The person who stole the account told me. What a smart person. Wait. Sella typed quickly. After a while, she replied to me. At 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, the senior has a basketball game. At that time, Go cheer for him. Give him water. And apologize all in one go. Even the most heartless person will forgive you. Makes sense. By the way, ask him about his account being stolen tomorrow. Sella. It's just a basketball game. Why do I have to wear a little white dress? I held Sella's white suspender dress and frowned so much that I could pinch a fly to death. You are still young and don't understand the charm of a little white dress and a high ponytail. Plus. Call out brother, in a sweet voice. Even a heart sealed with cement can melt. I shivered. I looked at Sella and then at the less than 2 ounces of flesh in front of me. Sure enough. I changed into my short-sleeved shirt. Sella looked at me with an expression that said, "You can't be taught." I held the water and craned my neck in the audience seats. I easily saw Lionel in the middle of the court. He was wearing light gray casual sportswear and had a tall and straight posture. He looked at me and smiled. My heart subconsciously beat faster and my cheering became louder. At halftime, I ran towards Lionel with water in my arms and forced a sweet smile. A sweet brother. Drink water, interrupted my words. It appeared. A girl in a little white dress and a high ponytail ran in front of Lionel. Plus a sweet brother. It was so sweet that the people around them kept making noise. I held my breath and stared at Lionel firmly. Refuse. Refuse quickly. Thank you. Lionel took it and drank most of it in one gulp. From my perspective, I could still see his Adam's apple rolling up and down. Sweat beads slid down his Adam's apple into his collar. I almost stared a hole in the bottle of water in Lionel's hand. I felt a tightness in my heart. It turns out that the senior also likes little white dresses and high ponytails. Dahlia. Why are you here? Lionel turned around. His eyes fell on the water in my hand. His eyes were shining. Of course I'm here to give you water. I emphasized the words, give you water, very heavily. As I spoke, I randomly stuffed the water to the person next to me. Lionel paused when he was about to take the water. The light in his eyes dimmed in an instant. Is he the one from yesterday? I turned my head and looked at Gauthier next to me who was grinning. No wonder he looked so familiar. This guy was in line behind us yesterday. He ate 4 servings of noodles soup by himself, which left a deep impression on me. Yes. I heard expression flashed across Lionel's face. His hand holding the water bottle made a cracking sound. After all, I was still not reconciled. Senior. Do you want to? At night. Before I could say, have a meal together, I was interrupted again. Dahlia. You just found this guy yesterday. And today you find me again. Am I some worthless thing? Lionel's eyes were bloodshot. It seemed that he was trying hard to restrain something. Brother. You promised to have a meal with me at night. The girl in the little white dress pulled Lionel's clothes and acted coquettously. Okay. Lionel rubbed her head. A soreness swelled up in my heart. Looking at Lionel ignoring me. The more I thought about it, the angrier I became. No, just having a meal. How did it come to this? I'm not without someone to accompany me. Who cares? Who cares if you accompany me? I have plenty of people to accompany me. I angrily yelled at Lionel and then turned and left. Along the way, my mind was blank. I regretted not wearing a little white dress. I regretted yelling. And I completely forgot about the account theft. Woo woo. After all, I still lost. After I left, Lionel glared at Gauthier and snatched the water from his arms. You're not thirsty. I'll take this water first. Sella. The senior is really angry. He still has to have a meal with the sweet girl in the little white dress at night. I have no chance. Woo woo woo. I hugged Sella's arm and cried loudly. Sella looked at me with disgust and patted my back. What's the big deal? They're not married yet. You still have a chance. Makes sense. I immediately perked up. Next time, I'll wear a white dress and white socks. I'll tie 2 ponytails. I'll charm him to death. That's what I said. But I still couldn't sleep. I looked at the senior with the big goose in my blacklist. I flipped through our chat records again and again. It's all because of that account thief. If it weren't for him stealing the account, I would have apologized and explained to the senior last night. The more I thought about it, the angrier I became. I took the person out of the blacklist and vented all my grievances on him. Account thief. Come out. Can't you see others being happy? With hands and feet. You can do anything but steal accounts. Why do you have to learn from others and steal accounts? If it weren't for you, how could I not be able to contact the senior? Now I don't even have a chance to chat with him. How short of money are you? Whose account don't you steal but steal the senior's? The chat page kept showing typing. I originally planned to scold the other party thoroughly. But the more I thought about it, the more I felt it was useless. My tone gradually became cowardly. Woo woo woo. Please. Return the senior's account to him. I really want to chat with him. Brother. What do you want to return the account? Seeing that the other party didn't reply, I looked at my balance of only over 300. I gritted my teeth and transferred 200 to the other party. This is all I have. Please return the account to the senior. Super invincible account thief handsome guy. Please. With folded hands. JPG, under my continuous flattery. The account thief finally replied. No need for the money. Is this person very important to you? You actually spend money to redeem his account? Of course. He is extremely important in my heart. Okay. Return it immediately. I covered my mouth and secretly felt happy. Finally. I can chat with the senior again. Thinking about being so fierce to people on the court in the afternoon, I wished I could slap myself twice. I'm so damn dead. However, Galia still has me in her heart. I'm not plan B. Since I took the senior's WeChat out of the blacklist, we haven't chatted. I don't know if the account thief didn't keep his word or if the senior has forgotten me, and only has the sweet girl in the little white dress in his heart. Sella said that if you take the initiative, you lose. A woman like a female legal definitely can't lose. I repeatedly assured Sella, I will definitely not take the initiative. Unless the senior takes the initiative to send me a message. Even if it's withdrawn. It counts. Or if the senior takes the initiative to talk to me. Even if it's just eye contact and communication. It counts. After all, I can read his inner monologue. Sella couldn't help rolling her eyes. Look at your spineless look. Before you're even together, you gave 200 yuan to help him get back his WeChat. If he hadn't refused, you wouldn't be able to eat sweet and sour pork ribs today. I blinked my big eyes. I'm just helpful. Sella pouted. Look, there's still a seat opposite your senior. Sit over there. As soon as I looked up, I met his deep pupils. My face flushed instantly. It's not good, I said coyly. You almost called your husband in the dormitory. What's not good? Don't you still want to ask about the account theft? Sella pulled me in front of the senior. Senior, is this seat taken? Leonel shook his head. I successfully sat opposite Leonel. We just saw each other yesterday. But for some reason, looking at the senior really made me feel empty. Senior, wasn't your account stolen some time ago? Have you got it back? When was your account stolen? Weren't you still passionately speaking in the dormitory group these days? The senior's friend looked confused. Leonel blushed and glared at his roommate beside him. He gritted his teeth and affirmed, it was stolen. The roommate had an expression of understanding. No wonder. Usually, you are so aloof. But these days, you posted love-lost declarations in the group late at night. I even suspected that you were possessed. Leonel's ears and even his face turned red frighteningly because of what his roommate said. He quickly picked up a chicken leg from the plate and stuffed it into his roommate's mouth. Eat the chicken leg. Don't talk too much. I looked at the scene in confusion. But Sella curled her lips and whispered to me, your senior is a cunning man. Sella received a call from the counselor and had to leave early. Before leaving, she reminded me to be more careful. After finishing the meal, it began to rain heavily outside. The rain was pattering on the glass window. I glanced at the umbrella next to the senior. Immediately, an idea came to me. I got up and put away the plate. I randomly grabbed a lucky person. Classmate. Do you have an umbrella? No. Then I'll give you mine. I stuffed the umbrella into the other person's arms and tiptoed towards the senior. The senior's roommate came over in advance. The senior stood at the door of the cafeteria and looked at the rain outside. It seemed that he was waiting for someone. When he saw me coming, he cleared his throat, embarrassed lie. Dahlia. I didn't bring an umbrella. Can you give me a ride? Senior. I forgot to bring an umbrella. Can you take me back to the dormitory? The two spoke in unison, and were both stunned. I looked at the senior's bag. I clearly saw a black umbrella just now. The senior was also a bit stunned when he saw that my hands were empty. I just saw that. I turned around to look for the umbrella I just gave away. But it was too late. In the distance, a yellow Pikachu umbrella was gradually disappearing. The senior and I looked at each other. Both of us involuntarily showed expressions of regret. This is terrible. Why don't we sit and chat for a while? Senior, how did you get your account back? Or let's not talk about it. Seeing that the rain was getting heavier and heavier, and there were almost no people left in the cafeteria, Lionel took off his coat. Come here. I'll take you back first. I obediently walked to his side. He held up his coat over my head. Come closer. Be careful not to get wet. His deep voice came from above. With a hint of gentleness. I carefully moved closer. I smelled the faint mint fragrance on his body. Leone was very tall. Holding up his coat like this almost completely covered me, making me feel like I was protected under his wings. Are you ready? I nodded and subconsciously grabbed the hem of his short sleeve. Let's go. Songsi took long strides. I followed closely. I only felt the wind blowing by my ears. My heart was beating extremely fast. The rain was getting heavier and heavier. The coat blocked the light. I couldn't see his expression, but I could clearly feel the heat from his body. Is it too fast? He asked in a low voice. I didn't stop walking and replied in a low voice. It can be a bit faster. I don't know what point this sentence touched Lionel. He suddenly staggered. For a moment, I was a bit flustered, afraid that he would fall. I tightly hugged his waist. After realizing what I had done, my ears became hot. Thump, thump, thump. I heard my heart beating violently. Lionel's body stiff and slightly. It seemed that he didn't expect me to do such a thing. But then he relaxed again. I'm fine. Lionel steadied himself. His hoarse voice was tinged with a smile. I couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Fortunately, he didn't fall. After letting go of the senior, I found that the heartbeat became softer. It seemed to be the senior's heartbeat. I pressed against Lionel's chest again, listening to the heartbeat that was getting stronger and stronger. Feeling the heat emanating from the senior. It really was the senior's heartbeat. Senior, your heart is beating so fast. I looked up at him. Our eyes met. The rain washed over his eyelashes, creating a hazy light and shadow at the eyelids. A strange look flashed in Lionel's eyes. His Adam's apple rolled. His hoarse voice said, You heard wrong. Let's go quickly. Back downstairs in the dormitory. I waved and watched the senior leave. I slowly put my hand on my chest. My heart was beating so fast too. I took Sella's hand and put it on my chest. Sella. Feel it. Is my heart beating? If it doesn't beat, you'll be dead. Sella couldn't help but tease. Sella. I seemed to have fallen in love with the senior. I put my hand on my chest. My heart couldn't calm down for a long time. If it doesn't beat, you'll be dead. Sella couldn't help but repeat. No, it's that thumping sound. I know. Didn't you say before that you like big geese and you also like the senior? I shook my head firmly. Wrong. I like big geese. But I like the senior even more. Sella narrowed her eyes and questioned me. Did you do something with Lionel? recalling the contact with the senior just now. I couldn't help blushing. No. Nothing. Just the senior took me back to the dormitory. Be more careful. Lionel is a sly fox. The account theft must be something he directed and acted himself. Be careful that you are eaten up without even leaving any residue. What do you mean? The senior can't deceive me. Right? Sella stretched out her hand. Phone. I presented it with both hands. Sella flipped through the chat records while Tiang. Dahlia. You gluttonous girl. Except for eating. You know nothing about other things. Look at your male god's replies and eagerness. When you said you wanted to sleep with him, he even took the initiative. If he doesn't like you, I'll twist off my head and let you kick it like a ball. Really? Sella raised an eyebrow. However, you have to solve two problems urgently. What problems? First, that sweet girl in the little white dress. When it came to the sweet girl in the little white dress, the fighting spirit that had just been kindled in me was extinguished again. What if the sweet girl in the little white dress is the senior's girlfriend? They had a meal together. The senior took her water and rubbed her head. The more I said, the less confident I became. Maybe it was the account thief who felt sorry for me and sent that message. Sella touched her chin and looked thoughtful. According to my years of experience reading novels, there must be some misunderstanding here. At this point, I suddenly received a message from the senior. Dahlia. The club is organizing a camping trip on the mountain this weekend. Do you want to come along? Yes. 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 Without hesitation. I agreed immediately. Just take this opportunity to ask clearly about the relationship between the senior and the sweet girl. If he has a girlfriend, I will cut it off immediately and not be a slave to emotions. After making this decision, I completely forgot to ask Sella what the second problem to be solved was. On the weekend, it was sunny. I put on a little white dress and twin ponytails. I also practiced for several days in advance on how to call out brother, in his sweet voice. I almost got kicked out of the dormitory. Everything was ready. This time, Dahlia must not lose. Hey, Shenhe. Dahlia? Someone patted me on the shoulder. As I turned around, 2 rows of big white teeth appeared in front of me. It was that guy who ate 4 bowls of noodle soup. Hi, nice to see you again. I greeted him awkwardly. Yes. It took me a long time to find out your name. I'm Gauthier. He looked me up and down and said with a grin, you look really beautiful today. I nodded perfunctorily and looked around from time to time to find Lionel. When I saw him walking towards me, I nervously clutched the corner of my skirt. Would he like it? After Lionel came over, he frowned and glanced at Gauthier. He squeezed between me and Gauthier. Finally, his gaze fell on my skirt. Are you going to wear this dress for camping? Yes. Is it beautiful? I looked at him expectantly. Not so good. He replied inferently. Oh, I responded disappointedly and lowered my head. My fingers tugged at the corner of my clothes. Feeling a bit wronged. It turns out that he doesn't like everyone who wears a little white dress. Who said that? I think it's very beautiful. Gauthier poked his head out and smiled at me. Lionel snorted distaphonially. What's the use of being beautiful? How can you climb a mountain wearing like this? My heart sank to the bottom immediately. I only thought about showing off in front of the senior and forgot that it's inconvenient to wear a skirt for climbing. What's the problem? Gauthier put down his bag and took off his coat. Before I could react, he had already walked up to me and tied his coat around my waist. I was stunned for a moment and immediately blushed and shrank back. This will do. You walk in front of me later. I'll watch out for you. Gauthier winked at me, indicating that I could rest assured. Thank you. Otherwise, I wouldn't know what to do. Lionel's face instantly darkened and anger burned in his eyes. Why are you being so polite? I also want to thank you for giving me water last time. Although. His eyes inadvertently looked at Lionel. Although what? Get ready and let's go. Lionel's indifferent voice interrupted our conversation. Brother. Here. The indifference on Leonel's face was replaced by tenderness. I'm coming. It was that girl again. Unexpectedly, the senior brought her along for camping. I asked Gauthier, do you know that girl? Oh, that one. Leonel's family member. Ah, so she's a family member. I was absent-minded the whole time. Gauthier walked behind me. From time to time, he poked his head out and talked to me and tickled me with a dogtail grass. What's wrong? Are you not happy? I shook my head and watched Leonel carefully holding the girl's hand in front. They walked and talked and laughed all the way. I was a bit envious. How nice it would be if the senior was holding me. I shook my head. Dahlia, you said that after figuring it out. You can't be a slave to emotions. What's the point of competing with a beautiful girl for a man? I swear that from now on, I will stay far away from the senior. There was a very steep section of the road up the mountain. Some male classmates went up first, and then pulled people up one by one. Originally, it was another senior in front. But for some reason, when it was my turn, it was replaced by Leonel. He reached out his hand to me. I looked at his hand and thought that this hand had just held someone else. After hesitating for a moment, I took 2 steps back. Dahlia, come up, Leonel urged. I shook my head and bumped into a chest at the back of my head. It was Gauthier. I looked at him and then at Leonel. I took Leonel's hand and stepped over. Thank you, senior. Dahlia will be taken care of by me. As he said this, he reached out his hand to me. I took his hand and passed. For some reason, I always felt a chill on my back. It seemed as if someone was staring at me. I sighed and walked slowly with my waist bent. Suddenly, I felt a lightness on my back. Looking back, I found that Gauthier had directly picked up the bag on my back. Is the bag too heavy? I'll carry it for you. He naturally took off the bag on my back and then mysteriously leaned closer to me. There is a large persimmon forest nearby. The persimmons are extremely delicious. I'll take you to pick them later. Thinking of persimmons, I immediately perked up. People need food to survive. If there's no man, I can find another one. Eating is the most important thing. I nodded with a smile. Gauthier saw my greedy look and secretly curved his mouth. Dahlia, let's go. Gauthier reminded me with his mouth. I put down my bag and was about to go pick persimmons with him. But I was stopped by Leonel. Dahlia, where are you going? Don't run around alone. It's dangerous. Gauthier stood in front of me. Senior. She's not alone. Dahlia has me. Gauthier winked at me. I immediately understood and pulled Gauthier's sleeve. Senior. We'll be back soon. Leonel's gaze was fixed on the hands that Gauthier and I were holding. His face became even uglier. Gauthier didn't deceive me. There was indeed a large persimmon forest. Before I could recover from the shock, he climbed up the tree nimbly. Hey, Dahlia. Catch. As soon as I looked up, Gauthier threw persimmons down to me. I laughed and caught them one by one. When my arms were full of persimmons, I remembered a problem. This persimmon forest was all the same. At first glance, it was planted by someone. I shouted to Gauthier, Gauthier, these persimmons seem to be planted by someone. Can we pick them directly? Gauthier jumped down from the tree and put his index finger on my lips. Shh. We'll be caught later. Ah, then aren't we stealing? Gauthier took the bag of persimmons from my hand and pulled me to run. The wind whistled past. My heart beat violently because of the excitement. Gauthier's voice rang clearly in my ears. Run. When we ran back to the campsite, both of us were out of breath. I gasped for breath. At the moment when I looked at Gauthier, we both laughed. How is it? Exciting, right? Gauthier handed me a bottle of water. I drank a whole can before I felt a little better. I nodded. Actually, I saw it. When we left, Gauthier tied 200 yuan on the tree, eating the sweet and soft persimmons and being amused by Gauthier's jokes. I giggled. Gauthier sat on the ground to rest. His hair was messily stuck to his forehead. The sun fell on his face. A bit dazzling. The senior and all that are in the past. In fact, it's also good to know a friend like this. The sadness from this morning was instantly swept away. It's time to eat. The senior cooked a seafood feast. After setting up the tent, I was already very hungry. I immediately ran over. Wow. It smells so good. As expected of the senior, I swallowed saliva. My stomach growled. Just as I reached out my chopsticks towards that plate of seafood, Lionel knocked them away. You can't eat, Lionel said and moved the seafood to the sweet girl who was farthest from me. Why? I was a bit wronged. You just ate too many persimmons. If you eat seafood. If I can't eat, then I won't eat. Let's eat chicken wings. Gauthier interrupted the senior's words and moved the chicken wings to me, facing the fragrant garlic chicken wings. I actually didn't feel much interest. It tasted like chewing wax. If I can't eat, then I won't eat. What's so great about it? I'll show some backbone. I'm full. I stood up. I ate too many persimmons. I'm full. I snorted at Lionel and turned and got into my tent. Hiding under the quilt, I sent messages to Sella while shedding tears. Woo woo. Sella. The senior has a girlfriend. Sella. I'm so sad. Obviously chicken wings are so delicious. But I can't eat it all. Sella. Am I done for? Suddenly, I felt that no matter how delicious the food was, it couldn't compare to the senior. But I have no chance. After venting, I stared at the screen and looked at Sella's message. Dahlia. Is your head itchy? Do you want to scratch it? What? I'm very clean. It's not itchy. If it's not itchy, then why are you growing a love-struck brain? Bye-bye. The next one will be better. Have fun. I have a lot of resources in my hands. I'll find a better one for you later. Don't let me look down on you. Before I had time to be sad, someone called me outside. Dahlia? I poked my head out and saw Gauthier holding chocolates and snacks and presenting them to me like treasures. It's all my fault that I forgot that persimmons can't be eaten with seafood. You missed so many good things. Here are some snacks to replenish you. Thank you. I suddenly understood. It turns out that the senior didn't mean to not let me eat on purpose. My heart immediately felt much better. He pointed at the sky. Do you want to go see the stars together? The stars here are very beautiful. Okay. When I walked out with Gauthier, neither of us noticed that we were being followed by a tall and slender figure. The higher we walked, the more brilliant the stars in the sky became. Gauthier suddenly pointed at the sky. Dahlia. Look. The Big Dipper. I looked in the direction Gauthier pointed. Sure enough, I saw several shining stars appear in the sky. They were arranged in the air, emitting a dim, bright, and gentle light. Wow. This is the first time I've seen the Big Dipper so closely. Gauthier found a clean stone and took off his coat for me to sit on. Dahlia. Actually, I asked you out because I have something to tell you. Gauthier hesitated for a while. It seemed that he had mustered up courage. Looking into my eyes, he said seriously, Dahlia. I like you. As soon as I heard this, I was stunned. I looked at him blankly and couldn't say a word for a long time. We've only met a few times. How could he like me? Gauthier's face was as red as a tomato. He didn't dare to look into my eyes. His hands were clenched into fists, nervous and expectant. I knew that we had just met not long ago. But when I was thinking about how I should answer him, a sudden weight sounded behind me. It was Lionel. He noticed me looking at him. His eyes dodged a little. When he spoke, he stuttered a bit. What a coincidence. I actually met you here. Don't misunderstand. I just happened to pass by and overheard accidentally. I definitely didn't mean to disturb on purpose. The more Lionel spoke, the redder his ears became. Senior, you interrupted my confession. Can you go away? Gauthier unceremoniously chased him away. Did I interrupt you? Probably not. Do you mind if I stay and listen? Leonel looked at me and asked tentatively. Gauthier frowned slightly. Yes. I mind. Senior. If you have nothing to do. Go away first. I have something to do. I have something to find Dahlia. Leonel approached and tried to separate me from Gauthier. Unfortunately, the stone was too small, and he couldn't squeeze up. Gauthier gritted his molars and stopped Leonel from making trouble. Senior, everything should follow in order. Can you go first and wait until I finish speaking? Leonel looked as if he suddenly understood. As he spoke, he came over and took my hand. That makes sense. Everything should follow in order. Gauthier quickly grabbed my other hand. Leonel, don't think that just because I call you senior, you can push your luck here. Let go. Being pulled by the two of them like this. I didn't know whether to leave or stay. Leonel didn't show any sign of weakness. You should be the one to let go. Didn't you say that everything should follow in order? I liked Dahlia first. What right do you have to confess first? Leonel, what were you doing earlier? Don't be like a peacock showing off its feathers. Gauthier was aggressive. Leonel sneered. It's none of your business whether I show off or not. Although I am Plan B, it doesn't mean I will lose. What Plan B? The two were on the verge of fighting. Seeing this, I quickly stopped them. Wait. Both of you shut up. Is it really necessary to leave? I nodded. A trace of disappointment flashed in Leonel's eyes. But he still obediently turned around and moved slowly, looking back every 3 steps. After he was out of sight, I returned to the main topic. Gauthier, thank you for your liking. I think we can be very good friends. Although we have only met a few times. I know he is a very, very good person. Gauthier smiled and didn't seem surprised by my answer. I understand. Then I'll just take it as you asking me to start as a friend. If one day someone who is blind makes you unhappy, come to me. I will always be your backing. At the end of his sentence, he deliberately raised his voice and glanced at the grass not far away. Okay. Then I'll leave first. I guess someone has something to find you. After Gauthier left, Leonel emerged from the grass behind. Smiling like a cat that had succeeded in stealing something. He pointed to the sky with 3 fingers. I definitely wasn't eavesdropping. I was just worried that he had ulterior motives towards you and was protecting you from behind. Senior, did you mean it when you said you liked me just now? Leonel nodded seriously. Of course. I frowned and took a few steps back. Speaking in an annoyed tone. Senior, although I like you, I have to say that you are scummy. Leonel was stunned by what I said. What do you mean? What do you mean? Dahlia. No matter how much I like you, I will not be a mistress. Moreover, your girlfriend is so beautiful and so lovely. How can you bear to treat her like that? I glared at Leonel angrily. What girlfriend? I don't have a girlfriend. Leonel was so anxious that he was sweating profusely. The girl who was next to you today. She also came to give you water that day. Leonel smiled and came closer, handing me the clothes in his arms. I saw that it was inconvenient for you to wear a skirt. So I asked my sister to bring you clothes. Today you have been with someone all the time. I didn't have a chance to give it to you. I took the clothes and suddenly realized something. Your sister? Leonel couldn't hold back the smile on his lips. Yes. My sister. My own sister. My mind is now like a mess. So the family member that Gauthier mentioned meant sister. It's so embarrassing. I now wish I could dig a hole and hide in it. Leonel's gaze on me was too intense, making me a bit overwhelmed. So, Dahlia, can I understand that you are jealous? Leonel's smile became even brighter. No, I'm not. I stammered. Leonel grabbed my hand. The love in his eyes was about to overflow. Dahlia, you just said you liked me. I pulled out my hand and changed the topic. Wait. I haven't asked clearly yet. What did you say about Plan B? At this point, Leonel suddenly became a bit aggrieved. Before, when you sent a message saying you wanted to sleep with me, I wanted to see you quickly. So I finished the test paper in only half an hour. But I didn't expect that you actually found Gauthier behind my back. And you also said that we could make an appointment next time. At the basketball court that time. I thought you came to give me water. But unexpectedly, you gave it to Gauthier again. If I'm not your plan B, then what am I? After saying this, Leonel didn't forget to add, even if I am plan B, I can wait. Hearing what Leonel said, I couldn't help but burst out laughing. I didn't expect such a big misunderstanding to happen. I was embarrassed and scratched my head. Senior, I only met Gauthier when we had noodles in the cafeteria. I gave him the water because you took someone else's water. I just randomly gave it to him. Leonel's eyes lit up instantly. So, I am your first choice, right? My cheeks flushed. I didn't deny it. So, Senior, was your account not stolen either? I tentatively asked. He didn't say a word. He just looked at me silently. That gaze was too burning. As if there was a fire burning inside. I lowered my head, blushing almost to the point of bleeding. Well, I know everything you did for me. At this moment, I just want to live on another planet. Dahlia, I like you. I like you very, very much. Would you like to be my girlfriend? Leonel looked at me seriously. His obsidian-like eyes were deep and enchanting. I was so nervous that I almost forgot to breathe. My heartbeat repeatedly drowned me. Leonel waited patiently, looking at me nervously and expectantly. The moment I nodded, I was pulled into his embrace. The familiar temperature and smell made my heart beat faster. Leonel hugged me tightly, as if afraid of losing me. He lowered his head and moved closer by a bit. The moment our lips touched, there was a buzzing sound in my mind. It was like thousands of bees were flying. It was also like something was rumbling and exploding. My mind went blank and my eyes were wide open. At this moment, I suddenly understood that cheesy love phrase, the stars are in the sky. You are in my heart. Surprise inspection. What are you doing? Sella sent a message late at night. Kissing. Sorry to disturb. Then you kiss first. No. What? What kissing? Dahlia. Whose mouth are you kissing? Stop quickly. Tell me. Did Leonel force you? No. I did it voluntarily. Okay. 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 Dahlia. You are really something. Tomorrow you'd better explain everything to me in detail. Otherwise, you will be kicked out of the dormitory. In the first half of the night, I was worried. Then Leonel called me. When he heard that I couldn't sleep, he told me fairy tales with his deep and pleasant voice all night by my ear. His voice was low and pleasant, like a feather brushing across the tip of my heart. Ticklish. That night, I had a spring dream. Naturally, the person in the dream was Leonel. He called my name over and over again on the bed, kissed my forehead. When I woke up in the morning, I blushed and reminisced about last night's dream. Leonel's sister has a beautiful name called Aria H. When she saw me, she hugged my arm and sweetly called out, "Sister-in-law." I think Sella is right. Not only men like sweet girls, but I also fell in love. Sella seems to have grown a love-struck brain too. She said that she seemed to hear the voice of her sworn enemy. He wanted to push her down. I don't understand. The second problem that Sella mentioned finally came. One day, Leonel sent me a message. Baby, didn't you say before that you wanted to sleep with me? Do you still want to now? Yes. I really want to. Let's solve this matter on a weekend. When are you free on the weekend? What time do you want? All. My heart pounded twice violently. All? Can he handle it? As it turns out, he can handle it. But I can't. Extra story, Leonel's perspective. At a club activity, I fell in love with a girl. At noon, we were going to make braised big geese in an iron pot. Everyone else was hiding and plucking feathers. Only she volunteered to help. That was the cleanest goose I had ever seen. When we started cooking, she didn't idle either. She went everywhere to pick up firewood. She said, "Only when there is enough firewood can the senior cook with peace of mind." She is really thoughtful. During cooking, many people pretended to come and help but actually came to chat with me. Only she watched from afar. Her eyes were watery and seemed to be able to talk. She was very cute. When the big goose was served on the table, for the first time, I had a selfish thought and gave her one of the goose legs hidden at the bottom. Her mouth was puffed up like a little hamster. After eating, I really wanted to touch her head. It would be great if she were my girlfriend. I am willing to cook for her for a lifetime. Later, she took the initiative to add me on WeChat. Only then did I know that her name was so beautiful. It's Dahlia. On our wedding night, when I accidentally opened my wife's WeChat, I realized that for so many years, the note she had given me was always senior with Big Goose. Extra story, Galthier's perspective. Because of 3 things, I fell in love with Dahlia. I never thought in my life that a bowl of beef noodle soup could have so many adjectives. What aromatic, delicate and soft, long-lasting taste after entering the mouth. Those idioms popped out of her mouth one by one, making me eat for bowls. I am relatively indifferent. Generally, when girls give me water, I ruthlessly refuse. But Dahlia stuffed the water into my hand without even asking. And this water stayed in my hand for less than a minute before it was snatched away by someone again. For the first time, I wanted a bottle of water so much. And for the first time, I wanted to know the name of a girl so much. Because of the heavy rain, I was trapped in the cafeteria. In the same way, she stuffed the umbrella into my arms again. Although the yellow Pikachu umbrella is very ugly, its owner is so cute. This time I finally know her name, Dahlia. Although I was rejected. But as long as she is happy, it's enough.